The hype around Windows 11 is massive. People want to try it out, people want to see how it looks, people just want to install it on their own machines. Now, there is a couple things you should note before even trying to do this, and it's first off, it's going to be very difficult to actually get the ISO or Windows 11, and that's because Microsoft doesn't want you to have it. It's technically software piracy in a sense, so I can't give you any download links. You're going to have to find those yourselves. Google is actually really helpful here. Second off, it's a leak, so it's not a final release version, so it's very buggy. And in my eyes, I don't want my computer being a buggy mess. I just want it to be stable so I can shoot videos, I can play games, and I can watch YouTube all the time. So you probably want that too. But fortunately, there's something called virtual machines that allow you to kind of test out different OSs without compromising the stability of your normal PC. So to start off, you want to go to the first link in the description and you want to get VirtualBox 6.1. Now, I personally use VMware, but it's paid. So we're using VirtualBox for this video because it's free, because you want to try out Windows 11 for free. You don't want to pay for it. So when you click the download button, you'll see a whole bunch of links. You just want to click on Windows hosts and it will download the application. And once it downloads, you just want to click on the installer and it'll open up the installer and you want to press next. Then all these settings, just leave them as default. They usually work. Press next and press next again and press yes and press install. Now, mind you, you will get a pop-up where you have to press yes. I'm using my actual Windows computer, so you won't be able to see it, but it's just the admin prompt where you need to press yes. And once you finish installing, press the finish button, and when the application opens up, you will see this blank page. We need to create a new virtual machine, and we need to base it on Windows 11. So press new, and you want to name it something like Windows 11. And you can have your machine folder as whatever you want. Type Microsoft Windows version, set it to Windows 10 because there's no Windows 11. So Windows 10 64-bit, press next. Now, next up you have memory size that you're able to select. Now, the default is 2 gigabytes, which is pretty bad. I would recommend you trying to do 8 or so. If you only have 16 gigs of RAM, you might want to knock it down to maybe 4 gigs. Depending on what you're doing, if you want to try and like play games and do other things or record Windows 11, you may need more or less RAM. I just recommend going 8 gigs, so anywhere around 8,000 megabytes is perfectly fine. Then press next, and now we need to actually add a hard disk. Now, VMs work by using some magic. There's files on your computer, and they turn into a hard drive. All you need to do is just click Create a Virtual Hard Disk Now and press Create, then keep it as VDI, press Next, press Dynamically Allocated, and press Next. Then you need to set the size of it. This is very important because you need to make sure that you actually have the size available on your SSD. So go to File Explorer, then go to this PC, which I'm just minimizing, and you will see that I have about 400 gigabytes left, so 50 gigabytes usage is completely fine. Just keep that in mind. You need space for these VMs, and you don't want to fill up your normal computer just with VM files because that's pretty pointless. Anyways, just make sure you have enough space for 50 gigs. You can crank it down all the way to about like 32 gigabytes, but below that it gets a little risky. So 50 is probably the best for default. So press Create, and it will create the system. Now you need to go into Settings, and it'll pop up this window here, and we need to actually change the storage because we need to boot through a Windows installation, or the disk, the ISO file. Now this ISO file, like I said before, is very hard to get. I cannot show you how to get it, but just Google Windows 11 ISO, and you'll probably find it after a little bit of searching. A lot of links won't be working, but if you just keep on digging, you'll find something. Now, when you do have that file, you need to go to this empty section here with a little disk icon, click on it. Then once you click on it, you need to click on this little disk drop down here and click Choose a Disk File. And it'll pop up with an Explorer where you need to navigate to your ISO. I'm going to click on my Windows 11 ISO. And once you have that, you need to go to Display. And there are a couple of settings that you probably want to change so you have the best performance. Enable 3D acceleration. Then crank video memory up to 256 if you can. Mind you, this is for like big gamer rigs, so keep that in mind. Monitor count, I would leave it at 1 for now just because multiple monitors on a VM kind of gets confusing if you do have 2 monitors. It's nice having 2 separate Windows operating systems. It's all preference, but just I'd leave it as 1. And remote display and recording you don't have to worry about. Next up, you need to go to System, and we need to configure a little bit of our VM system. so that Windows will run semi-smoothly. Mind you, running through a VM, it will be choppy, but you need to install tools and all this other fancy stuff. It's a little bit of a pain in the rear. This is going to be about a 2-hour process, and I'm trying to condense it as much as possible, so just bear with me. But all you need to do is click on processor, then you need to increase your processors to something reasonable. So I have a AMD 5600X. It has some amount of cores. I am just going to stick it to 3 CPU processors. Once again, if you crank it up all the way to the top, it'll say invalid settings. It'll get mad at you. Just put it somewhere in the green that you feel comfortable with. I would usually do in the middle of the little green section. Very professional, I know. And once you do that, just click on OK, and we need to start the VM, so press the Start button. And when you press Start VM, it'll pop up with this little window here. All you need to do is click on the drop-down and go to your Windows 11 ISO file. So click on it, then click Start. Then you will see this little window pop up. This is the basic Windows installer, so press Next, press Install Now, and it will start to set up your virtual machine. After you'll see this window pop up, just click I don't have a product key. That's completely fine. And select the Windows version that you want. I would recommend you selecting Windows 11 Pro, pressing Next. Click I accept the Microsoft software license terms. I'm going to sign off my life and press Next. Then click Custom. Click on Drive 0 unallocated space. Click New. Press Apply, press OK, then press Next, and you will be installing Windows. Now, you might be asking, how do I enjoy the Windows 11 experience in full screen? All you need to do is click View, then click Full Screen Mode, and once you set it to full screen, you will notice that you have this little bar down at the bottom. This is kind of like your toolbar for the virtual machine. I would recommend you just keeping it as minimized, but if you always want to see these options, click on the little pin button on the left, and it will pin the settings so that you could just keep it there and you won't have to worry about it. I'd leave it minimized. You may be able to move it around, but in all honesty, you're probably going to be using this VM for about half an hour, and then you're going to be like, wow, this is pretty disappointing. So when you do go through the installation, it'll say press any key to boot from a CD. Just don't press your computer at all and let the computer do its magic. Let the computer work, just sit back, relax, grab a drink or something. And once your computer does all the cool math of ones and zeros and nots and ors and ands and all this fancy stuff, you should get a Windows 11 animation in your face. Now this is the basic Windows install, it's just skinned a little bit different, so the fastest way to go through it is press yes, then wait 13 years while Microsoft downloads your information, press yes again, click skip. Now it'll be checking for updates for the newest version of the leaked Windows 11, and that was sarcasm. It's not going to find anything. After that, you'll have a couple options of setting up for personal use or work or school. Once again, it's a virtual machine, so don't worry about which settings you pick. Just go through the install as fast as possible. Just note that when you do have a virtual machine, setting the perfect sign-in options really doesn't matter because you'll be getting rid of this machine after you actually get the Windows 11 update. So just kind of burn through the installer. One thing you want to note is you need to click sign-in options, then click offline account to create an offline account. Then you need to click limited experience, and that will allow you to create an offline account where you can type in anything you want. I'm going to do no text-to-speech. That's pretty obvious. Then press next, and you can enter a password. I'm not going to because it's a virtual machine. If anyone's on my actual computer, I'm in big trouble anyways, and I don't care about this virtual machine. Now you can enable or disable all the Microsoft tracking stuff. Just press next and press accept. Because in all honesty, it's a virtual machine. You're probably going to use it for like half an hour. Microsoft's going to make you another $2 off of you, and they won't care. And after a long time of waiting, you should see this beautiful screen. Now you might be thinking, dang, why does it look like a 2001 Macintosh computer, which I played Kid Pix 3 on in elementary school with my friends? Well, to fix that, all you need to do is go down to the bottom, click on Devices, and click Insert Guest Edition CD Image. And when you insert it, all you need to do is go into the File Explorer, and once again, you'll see all this little fancy new stuff I'm not even going to talk about now. Click on CD Drive, D Virtual Guest Box Editions, and double-click on the VBox Windows Applications, and press yes, press next again, press install, and now you should have all the tools. You need to click install again. Very simple installation, just press the install and next button, and once it's done, you will see this reboot now thing. Click finish, and let that bad boy reboot. And once you log into Windows 11, you'll notice, wow, nothing changed. That's because all you need to do is right-click the desktop and click on Display Settings, and it should resize your screen and set it to the correct settings. Now, this is where you need to really pay attention here, because I messed this up before and I had to cut it out. When you go to display and you scroll down, your display resolution might not show 1920 by 1080. That is completely fine. Just do not change it. Just leave it the way it is because it's working now, and don't fix what's broke. Just don't mess with it. So that's how you actually install Windows 11 on a virtual machine, and it allows you to use Windows 11, and once you're done with it, you could always just go back to your normal Windows computer, and you could just use it like normal. As you can see, I'm dragging in my Streamlabs OBS from my normal computer. So that is a very nice thing to have where, you know, in case Windows 11 does something weird or Microsoft gets mad, literally anything, having this on a virtual machine is fantastic, because if Microsoft drops support, or there's a massive bug going around where you can't play Minecraft or, you know, all the fancy games that people play today, then that is very bad, because that means you have to wait or either downgrade your computer back to Windows 10. And I think that's just a huge waste of time for what you get. Now, from here on out, I'm just going to go over a couple features, tell you what I think about them, and timestamps will indicate when the uninstall section is if you want to just look at that and figure out how to uninstall. So to start off with the connoisseur look, I just want to say that if I press on the Windows Start menu, it looks quite nice. Now, I'm going to drop the accent because I'm not very good at it, but a couple things I just want to point out are that a lot of icons have changed for the better. The new Windows 11 look is great. The rounded corners looks impeccable. When I right-clicked for the first time, I actually thought to myself, damn, they did something good. Now, there are a couple of quirks that I feel like are going to be quite a bit of growing pains for the older audience, and that's the fact that the taskbar is in the center, so you don't have the muscle memory of going down to the bottom right, but also there's just a lot of weird icons, and there's this new widgets thing. So it's going to get a little different. Like, start still functions the same. You could type in whatever and it'll search for it. But once again, it's a little weird. Also, since I'm a nerd and I like using the calculator, I want to see if they changed the app. And they didn't. Thanks, Microsoft. I really love your calculator on my computer. I totally don't want to shoot myself every time I use it. So next up, other than the start menu that's pretty basic, you can also go through all apps. You can click on that and you have your basic app scroll wall thing. It's basically just the start menu, but looks a lot nicer, and the best thing is that I feel like this will work very well for themes. Speaking of themes, let's try dark mode if it's possible. So right-click on your desktop, go to Personalize, and we need to look for colors. You might have an issue where sound's repeating a whole bunch of times through your headphones, and to fix that, just go into your volume thing and just select a volume, and you might need to do it a couple of times, but at some point it will stop the repeating, and you'll have a nice normal Windows experience. Now, I activated Windows 11. Don't ask how, because it's not very good way of doing it, but when you do activate it, I'm going to change it to dark mode, because a lot of screenshots are on light mode, and I am a dark mode user. So, dark mode looks pretty fancy, I think. Mind you, once again, this white bar at the bottom is not included. This is part of the virtual machine. But if I open up the start menu, that looks really good. That looks very, 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 very good. I like that, indeed. So that's the start menu. You have the apps and stuff. You do have a search button, which it works basically like pressing the Windows start menu and searching. It will automatically jump to it. But the search tab is, once again, just kind of like Windows 10. None of us really use any of the buttons in here. We just search what we want and we press enter. Now, there is this task view thing, and apparently it's all fancy and you could do a whole bunch of stuff with it, have a whole bunch of applications open, and you can go and click task view and swap between different desktops. That's cool and all. None of us really use it, to be honest. But apparently it's been a whole lot better recently, so feel free to use it if you want. Also keep in mind that you are going to have to go through the awful growing pains of actually getting a new OS, and that's using Microsoft Edge, but I'm going to ignore that. So a couple other things I just want to look at is the widgets panel and the file explorer, and a couple things that most people look at on a day-to-day basis. So we have this new widgets tab, which is, I guess, cool, but look, it's working really well. Now that could be because I'm in Canada, or it could be because my internet's crap or whatever, but once again, it should pop up with a whole bunch of different notifications and widgets and stuff. It just doesn't for me, and this is why you don't install it on your normal computer. So next up, there's File Explorer. It's basically the same. You do have a couple buttons down here that are reskinned. You have rounded corners, which I think looks nice. Moreover, you can minimize all this stuff, and it looks great. It honestly looks like there is a theme applied to it. The icons, I love. Some people might not. Anyways, moving on to a couple more things. We have this little pop-up menu that's normal. We have all the internet stuff. it's basically the same thing. They don't look any different. They still look like crap. Moreover, my virtual machine is being weird. There we go. We have the Action Center, which looks a tiny bit different. The only different thing is that these buttons are rounded and they are very close to each other. If I expand it, you'll notice basically the same thing. There's a VPN? No way. Who uses this? Because I don't. So a couple more things that you might be interested in. If you are unpinning and pinning things from the taskbar, if you right click, you have a new context menu for some items. As you can see, File Explorer doesn't look different. If I go to the notifications tab, you'll notice, wow, this actually looks good. So a lot of inconsistencies with the leak. Mind you, newsflash, this is a leak. It's not going to be Microsoft's best product. It's going to be like Vista. Now that's basically Microsoft 11. There really isn't much to it. It's just a nice cool start menu, a nice cool search menu, a cool task view thing if you really even care about it. I just never use it. You have different icons, which are cool. You have light mode and dark mode, which work pretty well. And that's kind of it. You have a couple weird settings. Most of you probably won't care at all. And Microsoft's going to be very disappointed. They're going to grab you by the throat, and they're going to get very mad. And that wraps up the installation portion of the video. If it worked, like and subscribe. And if you want to support the channel even further, just turn off your ad blocker when you watch my videos. And if for some odd reason it didn't work out for you, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section or join my Discord and put your issue in the help channel, and I will help you out as soon as I can. Now let's get on to the uninstall portion of the video. Anyways, how do you actually uninstall all this bogus? Because it's been 40 minutes since I started this recording, and I'm already bored of Microsoft 11. Well, all you need to do to remove it is first, you actually need to turn off your virtual machine computer. So press the Windows key, then go into the power menu and click shut down. And once it shuts down, you will be returned right to the VirtualBox menu, like exactly like this. And all you need to do is you can either start to turn it back on, but if you want to get rid of it, just right click it, click remove, then click delete all files, and that will delete all the files containing the virtual machine. So that means your whole entire Windows 11 setup will be gone, all the files that you made on Windows 11 will be gone, but you will still have the OS file because it's not going to delete that. I'm going to click delete all files because I don't want my SSD being filled up with a whole bunch of virtual machine files, and now all you need to do is uninstall VirtualBox. So to uninstall VirtualBox, just press your Windows Start menu, type in add or remove programs and press enter, then search for VirtualBox, then click on VirtualBox, press uninstall and press uninstall, and click automatically close applications and press OK. It will close everything. You will need to press yes on a window that pops up. Once again, I wish I could show you this, but I'm on my actual Windows computer. I usually use a VM, so you are able to see that, but unfortunately you can't with this one. But once you are done, it will say, you must restart your system for the configuration changes made to Oracle VM to take effect. So this is where you'd press yes and restart your computer. But this is where I actually end the video, because I will restart, because I follow the rules. Anyways, I'm actually not going to install Windows 11 again, because I've used it once, and the whole entire effect and hype has worn off, and now I'm just a shell of who I once was.